This is the KJ Singh Show with your host KJ Singh. So it appears that the darling of the conservative right in America, the model or representative for which a minority, people of minority backgrounds could express conservatism, or essentially the institution of capitalism and white supremacy, could express itself, has been cancelled by the free speech right wing. Yes, that's right. Candace Owens has been cancelled to the point where she either had to forcibly resign or was fired from the Daily Wire. There is a third option where she wanted it, but that's a mutually exclusive decision, considering that she was really getting on the tits of a lot of those people on the right wing, conservative, pro-institutional right wing, from Ben Shapiro, to Rabbi Shmuley, to AIPAC, to ADL, Apartheid Defense League, and this is not something I am crying over, because of course, I have a thing or two to say about Candace Owens. Was not a fan of her, smearing and besmirching the Black Lives Matter and being a lightning rod for which, this disillusionment and hatred for restitution and improving lives for Black people from the white conservatives could just project onto Candace Owens and see her as a representative of their views, in a way that's appeasing their own conscience. She could say the things that white conservatives were too afraid to say, because of course she's from that background, and so she besmirched Black Lives Matter, and obviously there are a lot of flaws of the Black Lives Matter organization, but as a movement, it's very important. It's very important that we become aware of how historical capitalism has had an impact on today's, impact on race relations, how you have systemic racism still in play, even if it's not outlined in print, if it's not as policy, it's not made policy. Because when you have people at the very edges of society who have not been redeemed through historical corrections, then you're going to have communities that are historically oppressed still continue that legacy of self-oppression in a way, and also not just self-oppression, but also the lack of opportunities that are available to them because of the fact that their communities themselves, the cities and towns in which they live, have not been invested in, historically speaking, relative to their economic counterparts from the white community. This is why we're seeing a huge widening gap in wealth between Black and white communities. But anyways, I digress. Candace Owens has been cancelled, not for being anti-Semitic, because of course, I was shouting at the screen when she was defending Kanye West. I thought she was mad. I thought she was losing it and losing a lot of credibility. And I thought it was kind of strange, considering her, her employer or the organization in which she works at, the Daily Wire, was founded by Ben Shapiro, and so she may be in hot water by defending Kanye West, who was obviously saying anti-Semitic remarks. But she's not being cancelled for that. She's been cancelled for the same reason that Ai Weiwei, one of my favorite Chinese artists, was his exhibitions got cancelled. In the same way that Jonathan Glazer had an open letter by 1,000 pro-Zionist Jewish creatives denounced him for making basically a pro-humanitarian speech when he won the Oscar for his Holocaust film, The Zone of Interest. She's being cancelled in the same way that the Prime Minister of Ireland had to forcibly resign for making pro-Palestinian remarks, for having solidarity with the Palestinian people, and making that very, obvious connection, but something that the mainstream media wants to subvert the historical similarities between, colonialism and its brunt on Ireland. How the you had the Irish potato famine, which was a result of the colonial empire of Britain imposing itself on Ireland, whereby 1 million Irish people died in famine. 1 million had to leave, and they left for the shores of America. So the mainstream media doesn't want to make that connection between Irish history. And when he made that connection, clearly there were pressures. I'm sure there were pressures to forcibly resign. His statements were, "I'm not fit." Like seriously, you're not going to stand by your heartfelt beliefs? I don't believe that at all. Samia Halaby, an artist who had her exhibitions cancelled. She's a Palestinian artist, highly esteemed as an abstract artist, and she's always been. Many people have been, cancelled, forcibly resigned, or besmirched, and it starts with besmirchment, and Candace Owens is no exception. Now, the terms of the separation are not so clear, but it appears that she wants to leave amicably. She's not throwing shade on Daily Wire. She's not saying she was fired, but she's saying this is a new start, or it's something that. And in a video interview with one of the dumbest people I know, Davey Room, but somebody who knows Daily Wire colleagues. Dave Rubin said that she wants to leave. So perhaps she wants to leave, and this is kind of what helped break the terms of our contract and allow her to leave amicably, amiably. However, here's the thing. This is what I heard from Karl Kalinske, one of the secular, I believe it's secular, but basically she does or he does a news report with Crystal Ball. He said that Candace Owens, her YouTube channel, is actually a product of Daily Wire, and it's 3.06 million subscribers. Will that be in her domain? Will she be in full ownership of it, or will it go straight back to Daily Wire? And that's a real question there, because that's a huge part of her career. It's her show on YouTube. Even just the fact that she has a YouTube channel that has 3 million subscribers, it'd be quite difficult to try and recoup all that. So yeah, this is the state of affairs, but I'll update on this, but also I'll update on future cancellation, because there is an erasure of any kind of moral clarity, any morally courageous statements in society, and they're all because you're always going to get a significant proportion of the people who have some conscience, who have a certain personality type that is aware of the facts, that is pointing out the facts, and don't like to have their voice suppressed for being aware of the facts. So how are the institutions going to deal with this? Because there is also something to be said about the nail that pops out is asking to be hammered in, but there is, the more you try and hammer it in, the more of a demand there is for those kind of voices, whether it's from the conservative, whether from centrist liberals or the left. Although centrist liberals are perhaps the more likely to be the ones to fall in line in terms of institutional, obsequiousness, conformity, because what we call the centrist liberals are really just pro-establishment polite people. So because they're pro-establishment, pro-institutions, they're more likely to not question the status quo, because of course questioning the status quo for them would mean questioning the stability of the system. And for them, a lot of the centrist liberals are doing well in the system. This is why they're centrist liberals and not leftists. Unfortunately, a lot of leftists are poor or not, don't have the capitalistic backing of their centrist and right-wing counterparts. That being said, this YouTube channel is going to live long. It's going to be something where I voice my opinion alongside the breadth and range of other liberal centrist media channels out there, whether it's Novara Media, whether it's Majority Report, whether it's Youthful Idiots, whether it's Cal Kalinske and Krista Ball. There's and Owen Jones, of course. And in my next video, or in my next series of videos, I'm going to talk about how Owen Jones is being cancelled. Not so much cancelled. I'm using that buzzword again, but he's being, criticized for being in favor of an alternative voice to Keir Starmer, the pro-establishment figure that's in power right now. The establishment centre and establishment right have a lot in common. The only difference is really aesthetics. The centrist liberals like to say that they have moral superiority. They're very logical and rational. But when you pew under that surface, centrist liberals are actually, when the circumstances arise and they're ripe for it, they will turn fascist. But there's more in this in the future. Please like, comment, and subscribe. They'll be very much appreciated. Thank you.